Hey guys, David here again from SIP, and we've got another one of our SIP Ambassador series. Today we're sitting in with Adam Ralph, the co-founder and owner of A Plus Performance in Central Coast, New South Wales. Very excited to have you on board, Adam.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Got a number of qualifications in the bank here. I'm looking at Cert 3 Fitness, Cert 4 Personal Training, ASCA, S&C Level 1, Level 1 CrossFit, and CrossFit Programming as well. So
yeah. Bit of a mixed bag there.
That's a lot there to get out of one mouth.
That's it.
Before we kind of get into talking a little bit about your business, A Plus Performance and stuff, let's just delve back and have a little bit of a chat about your background. And
for sure.
I guess what led you to here? What was your background with sports?
Look, and I think it's kind of one of those things, now I look back as far as I can remember, and it was one of those things, I'm just always active and just doing stuff. So like any piece, any sport, any activity, anything basically I could do, I would do it. And if I was good at it, tick it off. If I was bad at it, never do that again. So this really probably didn't set myself up for great success there with learning how to lose well, but just always find the things you're good at. That's it. Yeah. Well, I'm still here now and I'm still doing what I do. So obviously there were some positives within that. But yeah, look, I think, going through school, footy, AFL even, rugby union, running, sprinting, all these different things. There's a handful. Actually, I may as well throw the handful that I'm not good at. Basketball, below average, like -10. Cricket,
the ball, the hoop,
mate, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I just don't have it. Like, can pass a footy perfectly. Can shoot a hoop? No. Nothing. Cricket, no good at cricket. Nothing like that. Swimming, okay, but more just surfing. So surfing was a big part of my life too growing up, because Central Coast, we've got a few good beaches and things around here. So surfing, rugby league were the two main priorities for me, I guess, moving forward from school. I started playing competitive rugby league, I guess you would call it, when I was about 11. Won my first grand final and thought this was pretty good. So first year in, first grand final. So just jumped on, and I played for another 15, 16 years after that. So as you can tell, I kind of just stuck with that for a bit. It was always kind of like playing every position that I could as well. So again, I think it just comes down to you wanted to do everything, which is probably a good reflection of my life right now, actually. But, as a sport, I think, rugby league really just took me. My dad was playing as well. We don't really have a great relationship, but it was kind of something that I always looked up to, and I wanted to be like that. So I saw that, played that for, multiple years, captained a few teams, which was always an exciting sort of step up. I never kind of really wanted to just be that general player, I guess. I always wanted to do that more, and leadership and all that kind of thing, it was good. It was good. And I think I learned a lot from that, even just growing up, just in general, I guess, having that little bit extra responsibility that you don't think about it during that, but I do now heaps more. And I'm more grateful now, I think, that you get older and you look back on the opportunities that you're given, whether you're 15, 16, 17, it doesn't matter. Like, you still got to take that role on as if it's just as important as any other. So
100%. Yeah. I think leadership throughout sport it sets you up as a leadership in so many other aspects.
Absolutely.
Later on in life.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like I've taken that on now, and I still try and strive to be that sort of lead by example, lead from the front. So I feel like, that was probably the start of that, and I just have now molded into more of an appreciative version of that, which is really good. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, nothing like 14 other guys on the field telling you you're right or wrong, eh?
That's it. 100%.
Yeah, nice. And then sort of, I guess, as you got older, you carried on with your sport, or sort of other things took over?
I did. And I played, and I think it got to a point where, you turn 18, 19 and it starts going from individual age groups to grade footy. That's for just normal people, I guess. When I was 16, 17, I just kind of got pulled straight up to reserve grade. So I'm playing with men when I'm a teenager, which was great. I loved it, playing reserve grade. Pretty much from the age of 17 to 26. So almost a good 9 years, 10 years of grade footy. Played a little bit of first grade here and there. I'd always just get thrown in the mix, and I was always keen to play. So I'd be like, yes, let me play. And they'd throw me in just here and there, So that took up a lot of my time. Then it got to adult life when I was like, well, where's the pros and cons to this? We moved to Sydney. My wife and I just made a good decision to move down there. And that's where I just kind of took the back seat, or footy took the back seat, and I just started focusing on myself really and just training for health. And I think essentially, like, obviously footy's great and it is a sport and athletic background, but I really think life after footy is when this whole health and fitness journey started for me, because I took it seriously. And I've got a few people to thank for that, but it was kind of like I was 108 kilos when I was playing football and I was just a little nugget, but I lost 12 kilos in 12 weeks and I was like, oh wow, this feels pretty good. And then just stuck with that, started CrossFit, and then just, started rolling in. Now I'm a CrossFit coach. As I said before, level 1 CrossFit programming. I owned a CrossFit gym for a bit and I still work there. It's just kind of eventuated into a little bit more solo sport, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, definitely, I can imagine losing that little bit of weight and having that sort of different outlook on life, man. You just feel healthier, feel better, more sprightly.
Yeah, and I guess it's you versus you. Like, I feel like with the team sports, don't get me wrong, it's great to have that mentality and the camaraderie in that, but I think you almost become reliant on other people a little bit. Like, oh, well, if they're not playing that well and I'm not playing that well, then it's easy to blame someone else. But if it's just you, then what are you going to do? You just got to blame yourself. So I feel like you have to just constantly turn up and put in the work, which I found that was more enticing for me, and I still do.
Yeah.
Hence what we'll talk about later, the big challenge,
Yeah, no, fair enough. And so I guess into your 20s now, you sort of then had a bit of a crack on building, and you're working in the construction industry for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, how did you step from, say, that? What was the motivation to step from that and then into, I don't know, getting all these other qualifications and ultimately starting your own business?
Look, I think it's, and you know what, the same thing that I think with the team sport in team work, I guess, in the scenario when I'm in construction. I was in construction for 11 years or so, working with a team. You're always with the boys, hanging out and all, just doing this, doing that. Yes, you're working hard, but it is just that teamwork and camaraderie, which I loved. But then it got to a point where I didn't enjoy the work. So it was 10, 12, 14, 15, 16 hour days, whatever they were. It just got to a point where I'm like, am I passionate about this anymore? And it almost, the answer always came back as no, or I was unsure. I'd done a little bit of study as a backup, so to speak. Like, I did my Cert 3 was the group fitness stuff, and I'm like, I'll just have it there. Did my Cert 4, and then it got to a point where I was like, you know what, I actually don't enjoy this. Why am I putting my passion on the back burner and doing this just for the sake of it, I guess? And I just was like, consulted with the boss and asked my wife and said, what do you think? Like, is this going to be something that we can do? Is it feasible? We didn't have kids at the time. I don't think. Maybe. I didn't. So I just kind of took the leap. I really can't remember that. That's shocking. Anyway, I'm not going to answer that question. But I took the leap, and I had her support as well, which really kind of pushed me forward and got me into that, when the going gets tough, we've still got to keep pushing forward, and we've got that support network. So I just did it, man. Just jumped head first and was like, the passion's what's going to drive me to want to get better and want to do better. So why not try and chase that dream rather than doing what I feel like I just have to do,
No, absolutely. And I mean, tell me a little bit about what is A+ Performance? What is it? Who's it sort of designed at? What is it for you?
I think when it first started, initially, because I was in the construction where, they have the emphasis on unhealthy living, I guess, and the way that you're only going to train is if you're going to do it at 4 a.m. in the morning before work, or probably never at all, because after a 10-hour day, nobody wants to go to the gym, especially when you're basically digging holes, throwing sandbags around, moving bricks, whatever. That was my target market for a bit there. And then I think I was lucky enough to go from grinding in parks and things like that around near the beach, which obviously I'm lucky to have that there just in general, to then get the opportunity to work more in the gyms. So then it kind of went CrossFit, and I was really focused on that. And then I think it just turned into more so things that obviously I feel that I'm passionate about, that I can learn more and then give back to them as well. So the weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting, that is a CrossFit thing as a whole, I guess, but specifically Olympic weightlifting really took me by surprise at how skillful it is. And it's one of those things that you'll never ever master. Like, you watch people in the Olympics, they're still just doing 1 or 2 kilo jumps. And I don't think anyone will ever get to the point where I've completed that. So that's something
Yeah.
that I love coaching, is people that want to improve their weightlifting. And then on the other hand, it's just like general population that do want to train and get involved. But I feel like, I think that friendship and that relationship is something that people look for too, because, it goes from what I noticed, especially through COVID, was more so people wanted to talk. They
Yes.
wanted to communicate. They wanted to share their problems and their issues. And I'm like, well, we're training. Let's just have a conversation too. So I think a lot of my clients, we're friends and we have long-term relationships, and I talk to them, when they're on holidays or when they're just at home, just checking in and, things like that. So I guess, like, in a roundabout way to answer your question, it's I'm trying to form relationships and trying to support not only in the gym, but also outside. So it kind of connects with the other work that I do now, and a little bit of support work and social and stuff like that. But as a whole, A+ wants to get you fit, healthy, stronger, all those kind of things. But I want to be your friend, and I want to be there to support you and share what my experience has been growing up, maybe not that great, and having a bit of a naughty spell in my life. I can share that kind of relationship and that relatability as well, So I feel like me individually, I share a lot of experience, and just, I'm a good listener too, so I can just listen and I can talk, whatever. Either or other. I've got both.
It's amazing, game. Like, I mean, having done a little bit of personal training myself and also being coached by other
Yeah.
people, it's such an intimate relationship, between
Absolutely.
client and trainer, and the
Yeah.
stuff that you share with your trainer, the things that you learn from your trainer. It's
Yeah.
it's hard to explain.
It's
but it
almost
just
like
is intimate.
a sense of vulnerability, just because I don't know what that happens, like how that happens. But I feel like I see some people walk in sometimes and they're just like, they're ready to just unload what they've done, especially if it's in the afternoon. They're like, I've had this on and I've had this on and this and this and this. And I'm like, all right, hang on a sec. We've got to start training, but then tell me in your sets. Most of the time they leave, your endorphins are flowing when you're training. But if you've got this element of like extra conversation involved and a bit of advice to take away, support and things like that, it's like endorphins and support just really jack it right up through the roof and make them feel good. So that's my goal. That's my goal.
No, 100%, and such a cool thing to have, and I
Yeah.
don't think anybody can underestimate the relationship between
Absolutely,
trainers
man.
and
Absolutely.
their clients and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, great point that you sort of touched on there.
Yeah.
Something else I think that you sort of said to me a wee while back was that you have to want to change as well.
You do.
And
Yeah.
I think that understanding too is great as a trainer, to kind of be able to say to somebody, well, you can come in here and I can tell you all the right things, but together we have to do this.
Oh,
and ultimately,
yeah.
it's your responsibility.
Absolutely. And obviously I've got a duty to, share my knowledge and make sure that people are turning up, accountability and that, but it goes the other way too. Like, I want people to hold me accountable by turning up and by wanting to have a go and asking me questions, like I've had a couple people, even just in the last few weeks, be like, what did we lift last week? And I'm just like, oh, we lifted this and now we need to lift this next week. It's just that conversation of like being confident that you're doing the right thing. And my education is like, I want you to be able to train with me for a certain period of time and then go off on your own. I don't need necessarily, I'm like, yeah, great, finance, great, just give me more money. But I don't care about that when it gets to a point of like, this is not getting, not much better. Like, that's probably not the term to look for. I think like they could just do it on their own, and I want that independence, I guess. I'm trying to give them the education and knowledge that I've learnt myself to then get the confidence. Maybe once or twice you can go on your own, rather than seeing me 3 times a week, go and try something on your own and just see how you feel. It just helps with that social aspect of connections and talking to other people.
Yeah, that's got to mention. It's got to be such a rewarding thing, isn't it?
It is. It's mad to see.
Follow their journey, you see them, you become quite invested in it yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, now you have got a 100k run event coming up.
Sure
this is pretty interesting, pretty exciting to talk about. I think anybody trying to run 100ks is mad in my mind, but full credit to you. So tell me a little bit about it. Like, what is the event and why are we doing this?
Well, it's mad in my mind too, to be honest. Sometimes I do. Look, I ask myself the same question. I'm like, why are you doing this? I think originally it was a personal challenge, and then it started kind of snowballing into this thing where I was like, you know what, all these people that are, I guess, getting behind me and supporting me as an individual, why can't I share that love and share that support as much as I can? So like, I mean, obviously you guys are a great support, and then I've got other sponsors and that on board, which is obviously the foundation, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to run. But just individuals and like teams and gyms and things around now are reaching out to me, and it's now gone from just me running on my own to now a group of people coming to run certain distances and things like that. So we kind of just thought, how do we build off this? I'm going to run 100Ks. If you want to join me at any point in time along that journey, it's going to be 12 hours of running. So there's any point that we can run. I've had a couple people message me prior to me thinking about this being an event, saying, oh, I think I might come and join you and do my first 5Ks. And I was like, what? And then it just goes, oh, I'm going to do my first 15Ks. And to me, I'm like, what? This is really starting something. So I think from my perspective of competitions as such, or races or whatever, there's always so much hype around it, but there's also a lot of pressure. And my goal is to eliminate that pressure. Same thing with a fundraiser. Like, don't get me wrong, I love fundraisers and the support that they give, but it originally was going to be that, and we eliminated that factor as well. So it's kind of like, turn up, grab a mate, have a chat, go for a run. Let's get a little bit of a conversation started. You might not know the person next to you, but you might get on because you've got the same issues, same problems, maybe no issues or problems, whatever. You just might gel, and then there's a relationship started from a group of people getting together, you know? So I think as a whole, it's just going to be a good, fun vibe day. Might get someone started to move in that direction. And, you know, like I said earlier, just trying to lead by example. And I feel like doing this hard thing and challenging myself, it kind of inspires and motivates people to do hard things in their own way. So I guess the whole thing is just about grabbing a mate, have a chat, go for a run, make some friends, have fun, just literally enjoy yourself. I'll have fun, don't get me wrong. I know 100K sounds hectic, but I'll enjoy myself no matter what. I love it. So yeah, I find sometimes find a little bit too much pleasure in pain. So I'll push through that boundary and we'll be good at the end of it.
Yeah.
We'll be good.
I can only imagine a beer or actually.
Yeah.
I can imagine getting to the end of it and having completed it. It's going
100%.
to be a hell of an achievement.
Yeah, it'll be wicked. I can almost see it already, which is something that I've never really done before. I've can kind of envisioned the whole thing happening, and so it's really good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And look, I suppose another thing a little bit about you that not everyone's going to know, but obviously you had a little bit of a tumultuous or troubled past at times, and I understand that's kind of also got a bit of a motivating factor in doing this, and I guess trying to hope to spread a little bit of message in a bit of a positive direction for some people as well.
For anyone, for that matter, I have been through my own individual troubles, I guess, and just kind of, I'm learning about this more now. They always say the people that you surround yourself with are the people that you kind of start doing the same thing, like right now my life is surrounded by people that are fit and healthy and really promoting everyone else's sort of social aspect of things, which is great. And then when I look back, I feel like I did what I did, and then I kind of started experimenting and partying when I was a little bit younger, like 18, 19, and then just probably took that step a little bit too far, and then hung out with some people that at the time we were all partying and doing social things and maybe dabbling in a little bit of drugs and alcohol and things like that. But then it just took a big leap, and it was like, okay, this is something that has gone from being social and fun to now it's like almost like crime and doing bad things, it just become engulfed in it all. I didn't have a job at the time. I was just kind of just going out a couple of weeks at a time, hanging out with different friends and doing this and doing that, until I found myself in a little bit of strife, I guess, with the police and things like that, and then just ended up incarcerated for not long, but long enough to give me that bit of a wake-up call, I guess. And it wasn't even a matter of, this is, you're doing the wrong thing, you're doing this, you're doing that. You're like, that you're doing it. Because at the time, for me, being so involved in that mindset and that group of people, I guess, I kind of thought it was just like the cool thing to do. And then when I sort of realized a few weeks past that, the role model in me became completely different. The team leader and the mentality that I used to have as a kid, that was gone. So I was like, what? Where's this? And I just thought, I've got a younger sister and a younger brother. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like, oh, your brother does this or your brother's doing that. Now, Your brother's running 100 Ks. Your brother's doing this, doing really good things for myself, which it's hard for me to take credit for. And I think it's like anyone, you don't like tooting your own horn, but I've done a lot of work to try and get to where I am now. And I don't have great days every day, I still struggle a little bit with certain things. But I think when I look back and reflect on that, it's not that I regret them at all, because they taught me what I know now. And I learned so much from all of that sort of scenario. And to be fair, there's only a few mates that I have left that are either still alive or that are still around, So it's just not somewhere that I would ever recommend anyone to go. But at the end of the day, I think good people do bad things. And that's essentially where I look at myself, I did the wrong thing at the time, but it doesn't mean that I was a bad person. I was just doing what I was doing, and I just had no guidance, I guess. And that's where I think, it goes back to why I do what I do now, is if I can help people in a little way that's going to be positive, then it kind of almost, it's not cancelling it out, but I'm just trying to better myself and kind of just, working that weighing up either way.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, and obviously you're doing great things. It's a big transformation what you're doing and doing this event, and great role model too for other people out there that are potentially in, where you were sort of 10,
absolutely
12 years ago, and anybody sort of watching this that's kind of on that cusp.
For sure, man, for sure. There is always a fork in the road, and I feel like, it's up to you. It's 100%. Like you said before, and like I've said before, you got to want to change, and that's the hard thing when you are stuck in that. I think you think there is no other way to do things until someone comes along and says, this is what you can do to get better, or this is what we can do to move in a different direction. Like, how do you know, really? You don't know unless you know. So
exactly. And just having somebody, I guess, to show the better ways and other
100%.
options out there. And,
absolutely.
Like you said, if reach out, have a little bit of a chat.
That's exactly right.
Just get in there, get someone to look up to.
That's
awesome, mate. Well, hey, really appreciate having you on here today.
Thanks heaps.
Honestly, we can't wait to be a sort of part of this event and see the progress. It's late 27th of October.
27th of October. Yep. So I'm gonna start at 5 a.m. But I think I just want to get the first 20 out on my own, or maybe with a close group, just so I don't get too eager. Running 5-minute Ks for the first 20, I'm like, oh shit, I've got 80 to go. So 27th of October, point to point, essentially. I'll have more details anyway. So if you want to jump on, and I think I'm at aplus.training on Instagram, just jump on there, and I've got a bit of information. There'll be more to come, stations and things like that, aid stations from you guys and all that, which would be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it the closer it gets.
Awesome, and I've seen that you'll be putting up a lot of amazing videos showing your training, showing all the stuff that you're doing. So mate, we'll give Adam a bit of a follow on Instagram, and sure. Really interesting what he's doing for training. So keep an eye on that one.
Easy, man.
Awesome. All right, mate. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
We'll talk to you later on.
Appreciate it, bro.